What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Dana White praises Alex Pereira as pound-for-pound fighter. Dana White thinks that it's okay if Alex Pereira, who's apparently in talks to make his acting debut in a movie described as an action horror thriller, is ranked higher than Jon Jones on the pound-for-pound list, but not Islam Makhachev. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. After this week's Power Slap event before UFC 308, White was asked what Makhachev has to do to pass Jon Jones on his own personal pound-for-pound list.
You just keep doing what you're doing. He hasn't done it as long as Jon Jones has, and he hasn't done it as consistently as Alex Pereira has. I mean, really, when you talk about pound for... Now, if you guys argued with me and said, we think you're wrong, we think Alex Pereira is number one and Jones is number two, I could probably live with that. And I know it sounds like I'm on him, but I don't. I love Islam. He's a great kid. He's a hard worker. He fights and fights everybody. I'm just being honest.
During a sit-down with TNT this week, he also gave an update on AI taking over the UFC's rankings. We literally had meetings this week to work on it, and I actually talked to Mark Zuckerberg too about AI. I'm totally going to fix the rankings. We're going to make a lot of strong moves here coming into 25. Even though Alex Pereira said after UFC 307 that he's probably going to stay at light heavyweight for his next fight, he teased fans with a screenshot from a FaceTime call with Jon Jones on his Instagram story, where he wrote, "Even Dana White would be curious of what we talked about." While he's waiting to see if Magomed Ankalaev will get the job done on Saturday against Alexander Rakic, he shared the following message on his Instagram story. "I wanted Ankalaev to win so he could wait a little longer, but I can't see him beating Rakic." Pereira was also seen on video in the gym sparring with Ronaldo Rodriguez, who fights at flyweight and beat Audie Osbourne at UFC 306.
Para arriba, 2 ou 3 assim. Buena. Quanto falta, professor? 30 segundos. 30. Dale, Lexi. Oh, buena. Ya 3, abajo, abajo, arriba. Ya 3, abajo, abajo, arriba. Abajo, abajo, arriba. Ahí está. Otra vez, abajo, abajo, arriba.
Ariel Helwani skeptical on new UFC signing. During the UFC 308 press conference on Thursday, a fighter named Dobroshok Nabokov took the phrase "shoot your shot" to heart, using his time on the mic to tell Dana White that he's an undefeated fighter and asked for a fight in the UFC. Then, during an interview with TMZ Sports later in the day, Dana gave an update on the situation, saying that even though he isn't putting Nabokov in the UFC right away, he's already booked him a fight that could land him in the UFC if he wins. We literally just put together within the last 30 minutes. So yeah, that kid hits me up, that wasn't set up. I didn't know that guy. I didn't know he was going to say that, and we looked into it. Looks like he's 7-0. He's claiming he's 9-0. You never know with these fights that happen in Russia. So I'm actually flying to Korea for Dana White's Looking for a Fight that's on YouTube. The Korean Zombie is putting on the show. He started his own promotion out there. December 14, Looking for a Fight, Korea. I'm going to have him put that kid on the card, and we're going to find out what he's got that night. Ariel Helwani is a little bit skeptical about the whole thing though, saying on The Boys in the Back that it reminded him of Mickey Gall calling out CM Punk and a similar situation that happened in the WWE that was, of course, fake.
Italy, they had a wrestler planted in the front row named Santino Marella. He raised his hand saying, hey, I want to get my shot. They put him in there, I think, against Umaga. He has an incredible moment, and then all of a sudden he's now the guy from Italy who was picked out of the crowd. It's almost the exact same thing. So I was just thinking, wow, could you imagine if they actually planted this kid in there and said, you be the kid who raises his hand and gets the opportunity to live out his dream by doing this. It's brilliant. I don't think that's what happened. I give Dana a lot of credit for doing it.
Either way, Helwani was a fan of how things played out on Thursday. Belal Muhammad laughs at Ilia Topuria comments. Ilia Topuria might be undefeated, but Belal Muhammad thinks it's hilarious to think that the champion could try to fight him for the welterweight title. Leading up to Topuria's fight with Max Holloway on Saturday, El Matador said that he wants to be the UFC's first 3-division champ, which landed him right in the crosshairs of Belal Muhammad. While talking to MMA Fighting's Damon Martin, he joked about Topuria having Napoleon syndrome. I think that dude's got Napoleon syndrome or something. Short guys always act like they're tough. Literally, I think he started coming at me because somebody asked me about why he's coming at Islam. I said, bro, he needs to focus on Holloway who's in front of him. And you don't want to disrespect the guys from Dagestan because they see you in person, they're gonna slap you. They don't play the trash talk game. It's real life to them. I think he took offense to it. I think he's trying to find himself, and he's trying to show fans that he's trash talker and that he's this bad guy. He's not really good at trash talking. When he comes at me, it's laughable because he's basically copying words off memes. Even though Topuria has been laying the groundwork for a possible fight with Islam Makhachev by starting beef with him and the other Dagestani fighters who train with him, Dana White said this week that if Islam Makhachev beats Arman Tsarukyan, he'll let him go up to welterweight to fight for the title. If Belal Muhammad beats Shavkat Rakhmonov, however, then Makhachev probably won't be going up to welterweight, given that Muhammad already said he wouldn't fight his teammate, and Makhachev once joked that Belal winning the title ruined his plans to become a 2-division champion. Alright fight fans, UFC 308 is going down this weekend in Abu Dhabi. And as always, our partners at DraftKings have a way to heat things up for you. Right now, all new customers that bet just $5 will get $200 in bonus bets instantly. You heard me right. All new customers that bet just $5 on any of the fights this weekend will instantly get $200 in bonus bets. You can make things even more exciting by using that $200 in bonus bets to put together a same-game parlay, where you can combine multiple bets together for an even bigger payout. If sports betting isn't available in your state yet, don't worry. You can still get in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have the chance to win cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers that use our promo code MMAZone and bet just $5 on any wager will get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code MMAZone, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Dana White fires back at PFL owner for comments. After last weekend's Battle of the Giants between Francis Ngannou and Renan Ferreira, PFL owner Don Davis told MMA Fighting's Mike Heck that according to his numbers, the Battle of the Giants event outperformed every UFC card this year. On top of that, Davis also said that the event's performance was close to boxing's Ring of Fire event in Saudi Arabia, where Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk fought each other.
This event, by our research, beat every viewership number of every UFC event this year and was very, very close to Ring of Fire, which, it's Ring of Fire. I mean, it's the biggest boxing event in 5 years.
On social media, Don Davis shared the numbers he was talking about, which showed that the Battle of the Giants event reached fans in 160 countries and racked up 326 million video views. During Thursday's Power Slap press conference, Dana White shut down the claim and any talk of the PFL competing with the UFC, joking that the PFL can't even keep up with Power Slap.
Yeah, first of all, the PFL should keep the UFC out of their mouth. They can't even deal with Power Slap. Power Slap destroys PFL, all right? Power Slap has 19.2 million followers. The PFL has 10. Video views. PFL Fight Week did 326 million. Power Slap 8 did 690 million.
So far, Don Davis hasn't responded yet, but in the past, he's shown that he has no problem talking about the UFC or throwing shots at Dana White. So it seems safe to say that he may wind up firing back at Dana sometime in the next few weeks. UFC updates. Leading up to this weekend's UFC 308 card, let's look at today's UFC updates. First up, Charlie Campbell is out of his UFC 309 fight with Mauricio Rufy. So far, no word yet on what happened to Campbell, but according to MMA Junkie, the UFC is now trying to find Rufy an opponent on short notice so he can stay on the card. We also have 4 fight announcements, starting with a heavyweight bout between Rizvan Kuniev and Martin Budai set for the UFC 310 card. Kuniev will look to pick up a win in his UFC debut after a victory on Dana White's Contender Series this past summer. while Budai will look to try to build on a split decision victory over Andrei Arlovsky back in June. The next weekend, Jerkar Klose and Joel Alvarez will fight in a lightweight bout, with Klose looking to build on a 4-fight win streak that saw him defeat Joaquim Silva at UFC 301 in his last time out. On the flip side, Alvarez will look to build on a 2-fight win streak that saw him beat Elvis Brenner this summer. We also have a light heavyweight bout between Magomed Gaziadzulov and Bruno Lopez set for UFC Vegas 101 on January 11th. Gaziadzulov will look to remain undefeated after winning his UFC debut in June, and Lopez will look to get his first UFC win after picking up a Contender Series victory this summer. Last but not least, Ikram Aliskerov is supposed to fight Andre Muniz in Saudi Arabia on February 1st in a middleweight bout, where Aliskerov will look to bounce back from a loss to Robert Whittaker, and Muniz will look to build on a split decision victory over Jung Young Park. Dana White called out for lying during interview. Many members of the MMA world have been waiting to hear what Dana White thought of the UFC's antitrust settlement from earlier in the week. While talking to media members after Power Slap on Thursday, Dana was asked about the situation and how the next generation of fighters can make sure that they don't end up in a situation like the Lee v. Zuffa fighters, who made it clear to Judge Boulware that the settlement money would be life-changing.
Obviously, listen, this has been one of those things that I haven't dealt with at all. The lawyers deal with that. But yeah, of course, I'd love to see it settled. Yeah. If you think about back then, you know, if you look at some of these guys that are in this thing, some of them are when we were in the hole, however much money. And it's like the early days of baseball. Like the money that's being made now is much more than the money that was made then. 10 years from now will be the same.
John Nash pulled the receipts on Dana and showed in court documents how Dana White and the Fertittas paid themselves almost $1 billion before the December 2010 date that classifies the start of the Lee v. Zuffa period, even though he said that the UFC was in the hole. Regarding the money available back then, Dana White and the Fertittas had paid themselves almost $900 million before the Lee class period even starts, and $1.2 billion by the time the class period ended. And that's excluding the billions they made selling it to WME. Jonathan Snowden, who's worked for Bleacher Report and Fox Sports in the past, also jumped in. If only there was a way for the people asking him these questions to be armed with information. Guess it's not included in the popular adversarial YouTube shows and podcasts. John Fitch also reacted to Dana White's clip by saying, "This wife piece of would tell fighters before every show at the rules meeting to lay it all on the line and go out on your shield to put on a show, and that the UFC would always take care of them." That was a lie. Even though the UFC settled the Lee v. Zuffa suit, they still have to fend off the Johnson v. Zuffa suit, which covers fighters who fought for the UFC from 2017 onward. Israel Adesanya predicts Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway. The MMA community remains split over the upcoming main event fight this weekend between Max Holloway and featherweight champion Ilia Topuria. While Topuria is favored by most betting sites, many fans and fighters believe that Max Holloway will come out on top and reclaim the title. In a video for his YouTube channel, Israel Adesanya shared his official prediction, saying that even though he's boys with Max Holloway, he still thinks that the former champion gets the job done when looking at the fight from an unbiased point of view given Holloway's resume and his experience in championship fights. Official pick, I'm gonna go Max Holloway. I'm not just picking Max again just because he's my boy. I'm a fan of Ilia too, but I'm gonna go Max Holloway because I feel with his depth of work, the bodies he's encountered in the octagon, the experience, the octagon time he has, and the championship medal of him himself, I think when it comes to round 4 and 5, that's when he'll thrive. In addition to Izzy, Alexander Volkanovski, Belal Muhammad, Sean Strickland, and Robert Whittaker all think that Holloway is going to get the job done. On the flip side, Tom Aspinall and Corey Sandhagen think that Topuria is going to get the job done on Saturday and retain the title in his first title defense. With both fighters making weight and the main event being official, who do you see winning the main event on Saturday? On the topic of Israel Adesanya, he was recorded watching Nasruddin Imavov versus Jared Cannonier at a barbershop. Would you like to see Israel Adesanya versus Nasruddin Imavov? Let us know down in the comment section below. Concerns rise for a UFC 308 fight after staph infection rumors surfaced. Magomed Ankalaev is suspected to have a staph infection after his portrait picture was released by the UFC, and you can see an open wound just below his knee. Here's what some fans had to say. Not surprised if it's staph. Super excited for the fight though. Rakic isn't a joke. Aljo also had staph against Cater. That's all I'm gonna say. Why does everyone get staph these days? How hard is it to shower after a training session? I mean, holy F, dude. Oof, might need to make a new parlay just in case. Clean your mats, wash your trainers, and clean your body after rolling. How the F is that hard to do? Merab Dvalishvili absolutely goes off on a reporter after he was asked why he's ducking Umar Nurmagomedov. Merab claims that Sean O'Malley deserves the rematch and Umar still has work to do to prove he's worthy. Here's what Merab had to say.
When can we see the fight against you? And
where is this guy? When he's taking fight, he's scared. He's fighting somebody else. Where is he? Where is he? Tell me. Where is he wants to get knocked down from somebody and then he's gonna make excuse. He's not gonna make this fight, okay? I'm not making fight. Dana White and Hunter making decision to who's I'm gonna fight next, okay? I don't make decision. I never make decision, okay? If Dana White tell me I have to fight Umar, I'm fighting Umar, okay? But you know what? Umar don't deserve to fight me. Sean O'Malley deserves to fight me, and I'm gonna fight rematch him, okay? He deserves, and after Umar has to prove, and I will fight him. Answer your question.
Top comments. Colby still being anywhere near the top 5 is the perfect example of why the rankings mean nothing and are completely pointless. Bro, I thought Hamzat was pulling out, and prayers for his son though. Chimaev barely beat Burns and Usman. Let's hold off a bit on the Poatan talk. Whitaker will work for the UFC as a presenter, no doubt about it.